Hi everyone, it's Melba here again. So after a lot of requests from my backhand basics video for beginners and intermediate disc golfers, a lot of people asked me to show them a forehand video. So in this video, I'm just going to go over a warm-up drill I do before I play a game, as well as how to grip a forehand disc using the type of grip I like to use, as well as some very basic and introductory techniques on how to throw a forehand disc. There's tons of ways to throw a forehand disc. This is just how I do it, and some basic tips on how to try it out for yourself. So once again, if you're an internet troll and you don't like what I have to show you, no problem. Make your own video and share it with the world instead of making negative comments on my post. My goal is just to teach beginner and intermediate players how to throw a disc golf disc and how to do disc golf things without making it seem too intimidating, by using layman's terms and breaking it down into skills that are understandable for the average person. So I use unconventional teaching techniques, but it gets the message across and people actually learn how to play and have a better time. So be nice or go away. Thank you. Here's a drill I kind of started doing on my own before I start a round. I take my disc golf towel, or this is just a kitchen towel that I have, and I pull through as if I'm driving or doing a forehand, just to warm up both sides. And the goal is you should hear a snap. So if you hear a snap, then you're pulling through fast enough. Maybe your angle's a little weird, but you want to go for the snap so you can hear the power come through. For example, you hear that snap over here? Right here. If you don't pull through fast enough, this is what it sounds like. You want to hear a snap. And same with forehand. There it is. It's windy right now, so it's really hard for me to get. So practice with that. Get the snap. I only did it a few times for you because I'm tired. I never said I was perfect. I just said I'm good at teaching people how to play disc golf. When I started playing disc golf, I was exclusively a forehand thrower, just because it's most similar to throwing a baseball or throwing a football, just throwing a sports ball. It was more intuitive for me, so it actually took me a long time to work on my backhand, and only recently it's gotten to the place where it is now, where I'm throwing 200 to 250 feet, and finally just starting to outdrive my forehand. So I used to be able to throw my forehand 200 to 250 feet, but then I had kids and knee surgery, and it took away a lot of the power in my legs. A lot of the power comes from the legs. So if you're not using your legs and your glutes properly, you're not gonna be able to get the power that you need. First things first, let's talk about the grip. In disc golf, there's a lot of different ways to hold a disc. Today I'm gonna use the grip that I use for forehand, which is called a stacked grip. And what that means is that my fingers are stacked into the inside edge of the disc. My index and my middle finger are stacked inside of the rim of the disc, and then I have my ring finger that kind of cushions the outside and stabilizes it. And the thumb on top is pinching the knuckle. It's kind of where it should feel. It meets the knuckle of the index finger. Okay. Like I discussed yesterday, you want to make sure you don't have a hand crotch gap. You want to really make sure you nestle your disc right in the crotch of your hand, have it nice and tight, and that's essentially the forehand grip. Like any sport and throwing any kind of ball, or in disc golf a disc, you have to follow through. It's very smoky here in Calgary, and that's why my voice is very scratchy, and because I yell at my disc all day long when I miss a shot. As many of you know, I have a potty mouth. Okay, so back to the grip. Stacked fingers. Your thumb is pinching the index finger. That's where they're kind of meeting. And you're following through with the elbow. Just like the backhand, where you're following through with the elbow and then the wrist. Forehand's the same thing. You follow through with the elbow and the hip, and then the wrist. You should finish straight, just like you do backhand. You should finish straight. A lot of times I see people do this. Where do you think the disc goes? And a lot of times I see people torque their disc. So they're doing this, or they're doing this. They're dumping their disc. So back to my beer analogy, you are serving a beer on your disc. Serving a beer on your disc. And you want to make sure you go elbow, wrist, fingers, flick. Elbow, wrist, fingers, flick. Okay, so I'm going to show some forehand throws for you guys into my fancy driving practice training device. Ready? And your elbow follows through with your hip. Like the backhand drive, there's a weight change that occurs with a forehand throw. Same thing, spread your legs a little bit wider than shoulder width, and you're going back leg, front leg, back leg, front leg. Serving that beer, elbow leading, front leg. And your weight should end up on the front leg. And as you're pulling through, you lead with the hip, 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 elbow, wrist, fingers. One common mistake I see a lot of people do is I don't even know if I can do it, let's see. They lead with their hand first, and the grip is not tight enough, so they're leading with their hand first. It does really bizarre things. Leading with the elbow first. Hip and the elbow are friends. Hip, elbow, follow through the wrist and the fingers. And once again, there's a beer on here, and it's going all the way to the basket.